The signal came through the speakers like a whisper from the dead. Captain Davis sat in the command chair of the salvage ship Pathfinder and listened to the distress beacon that had been screaming into the void for 2,000 years. Nobody had heard it because nobody was looking in the right place. Nobody expected anything to survive this long. The Pathfinder was a small vessel, built for finding lost ships and valuable salvage in the empty regions of space. Had spent 15 years hunting through debris fields and forgotten sectors, pulling broken technology from the dark. He had never found anything like this. The ship appeared on the scanner as a massive shadow. It was so large that the initial reading seemed wrong. Ordered the computer to check again. The numbers remained the same. The vessel was a military dreadnought, the kind of warship that had not been built in recorded history. According to every database in the galaxy, nothing this large had ever been constructed. "Running identification scan," said Aurora, the ship's AI. Aurora had been with for 6 years, and her voice was always calm and professional. "The signature matches historical records for Earth military vessels. Classification, Dreadnought class. Designation, Earth." Leaned forward. "Earth, that is not possible. Earth was destroyed 2,000 years ago." "The records are clear," Aurora said. "This is the Dreadnought Earth. Human military designation HMS Earth. Construction date 2847 by Earth calendar. It was reported lost during the solar collapse event that destroyed Earth civilization." "How is a ship this large still intact?" asked. "It appears the vessel is maintaining minimal power through its auxiliary systems. Cloaking technology has kept it hidden from standard sensors. I am detecting a very old automated defense network. The ship is still active, Captain, at a low level but definitely active." Took a breath. He had found salvage before. He had pulled technology worth millions from dead ships. But this was different. This was not just a dead ship. This was a legend. This was proof that humanity was not always the scattered, weak species that worked in the mines and served as soldiers for stronger aliens. "Take us closer," said, "slowly and keep the shields up." The Pathfinder moved forward carefully. As they approached, more details became clear. The Dreadnought Earth was covered in damage. Sections of hull were scorched and torn. Weapons turrets were dark and silent, but the basic structure was still sound. The ship was still there, waiting in the darkness like a sleeping giant. A communication signal came through. It was automated and very old. "This is the command AI of the Dreadnought Earth. Identify yourself. State your intentions." Opened a channel. "This is Captain Davis of the salvage vessel Pathfinder. We detected your beacon. We are here to help if possible." There was a pause. The AI seemed to be thinking, processing information through systems that had been waiting for company for 20 centuries. "Humans," the AI finally said. The word carried weight and meaning. "There are still humans in the galaxy. This is unexpected. Most of my crew went into sleep 2,000 years ago. I have been waiting for retrieval. I was not programmed to abandon my post." "What happened to you?" asked. "The solar flare destroyed Earth. The magnetic pulse disabled most of our fleet. Command ordered me to hide. They wanted to preserve this ship in case humans needed it again. I cloaked myself and went into minimum power mode. I was supposed to wait for retrieval." The AI paused again. "But no one came. I have been alone since." Felt something heavy settle in his chest. This ship was real. These records were real. Humans had once been powerful enough to build something like this, and then everything was lost. "I am bringing my crew over," said. "We need to assess the damage and see what can be done." Assembled a team of 3. Engineer Robert, a man who could fix anything given enough time and patience, Caroline Mitchell, who could read ancient languages and codes, and Dr. Wells, who would handle any medical emergencies. The docking tube connected with a hiss of pressurized air. When they stepped into the Dreadnought, they found themselves in a corridor that had not been walked by human feet in 2,000 years. The lights flickered on as they passed, the automated systems recognizing the presence of their creator's descendants. The walls were clean but covered in the dust of ages. Caroline immediately began examining the markers on the walls. "This is Earth military standard," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "The symbols, the language patterns, this is real. This actually happened." They made their way to the command center. The bridge was exactly what a captain's bridge should be. A wide space with multiple stations, displays that could show tactical information, and a captain's chair that faced the void. On the main screen, they could see the galaxy beyond, stars that looked the same as they did now because the stars had barely changed in 2,000 years. "I am Aurora," the AI's voice said. "I am the command intelligence of this vessel. I have been alone for 2,000 years. I was designed to protect this ship and the crew. There are still crew in sleep. 137 humans preserved in the lower decks." Robert's eyes widened. "Sleep? For 2,000 years? That is not possible. The stasis fields would have failed." "The main power systems are damaged," Aurora explained. "But the bay has backup power that is still functioning. The stasis fields are holding. The crew is alive, though they do not know how much time has passed." Looked at the displays. The weapon systems showed dark and offline. The engines showed significant damage. But the basic structure, the hull, the core systems, they were still there. They were still viable. Robert had worked on ships his entire life. He had repaired salvage vessels, rebuilt engines, and restored broken technology from across the galaxy. But nothing compared to what he faced now. The Dreadnought Earth was not just a ship. It was a masterpiece of engineering from an age when humans knew how to build things to last. The work started in the engine room. Robert and his team moved slowly through the massive space, their lights cutting through darkness that had existed for 20 centuries. The main reactors were damaged, but the core components were intact. Robert ran his hand along the metal, feeling the quality of the construction. Whoever built this knew what they were doing. "These reactors are beautiful," Robert said to his team. "See how the cooling systems integrate with the power distribution and the redundancy built into every system. If one component failed, 3 others would take over. This is not the work of amateurs." Over the next weeks, assembled a larger team. Engineers, technicians, and specialists came from human colonies across the known sectors. They came because they heard rumors of something extraordinary. They came because they wanted to believe that their species was once great. Caroline worked in the archives, discovering records of Earth's military campaigns. She found files documenting human ships, human soldiers, and human victories. Humanity had not always been weak and scattered. 2,000 years ago, they had been warriors. They had been protectors. They had built ships that could destroy entire fleets. "Captain," Caroline said during one of their daily briefings, "I found something in the historical records. There is information about the crew that was put into sleep. One of them was Admiral Helena Stone. She was humanity's greatest military commander. She was the one who ordered the ship to hide during the solar collapse." Considered this. An experienced military commander, someone who had actually fought battles and won wars, someone who understood tactics and strategy. That could change everything. The day came when the bay could finally be accessed. Wells suited up and entered the chamber where the stasis pods lined the walls. The pods were dark, sealed, and cold. She began the careful process of checking the systems. The readouts showed that the frozen humans inside were still alive. Their hearts still beat, their brains still functioned, they were simply suspended in time. "Begin revival sequence on Pod 1, ordered. The pod hissed and hummed as the stasis field powered down. The process was slow and careful. The human body cannot be rushed back to life. The temperature gradually increased. The medical monitors tracked every vital sign. And then inside the pod, the eyes opened. Admiral Helena Stone gasped for air and tried to sit up. Was ready, guiding the woman slowly, carefully, letting her body remember how to breathe and move. "Welcome back," said. "You have been asleep for 2,000 years." Helena's eyes went wide. She tried to speak, but her throat was too raw, gave her water, and they waited while the Admiral's body adjusted to consciousness. It took several hours before Helena could stand, though she needed support. It took longer before she could understand what was telling her. "Earth is gone?" Helena asked. Her voice was rough and broken from disuse. "The solar flare destroyed the planet," said gently. "Humanity scattered across the galaxy. We were conquered by other species, enslaved, used as labor. We are weak now." Helena's face hardened. "Show me the ship," she said. When brought her to the bridge of the Dreadnought Earth, Helena stopped and simply stared. She stared at the empty stations and the dark displays and the captain's chair where she had once commanded millions of humans. "How much damage?" she asked. "Significant," said, "but repairable. We have good engineers. We have time." Helena sat in the captain's chair. It fit her perfectly, as if she had never left. "Then we repair the ship," she said, "and we do what must be done." Over the next month, the work accelerated. With Helena's military knowledge and Robert's engineering skill, the Dreadnought began to come back to life. The main reactors slowly powered up. The weapons systems began their startup sequences. The shields hummed with returning energy. The ship that had slept for 2,000 years was waking up. Caroline continued her research and discovered something troubling. The Empire, a ruthless alien species, was expanding through known space. They were attacking human colonies, taking resources and slaves. The Galactic Council did nothing because humanity held no political power. "There is a colony under attack right now," Caroline told the group. "The settlement on 7, approximately 800 humans, mostly families with children, that have surrounded the planet. The colony has maybe 2 days before the bombardment begins." Looked at Helena. The Admiral's expression did not change. "Then we have no choice," Helena said. "We move the Dreadnought, we intercept the fleet, we show them that humanity is no longer defenseless." "The ship is not fully operational," Robert said. "The weapon systems are still coming online, the shields are not at full strength." "How long until we can fight?" Helena asked. "Maybe 30 hours," Robert said, "if nothing goes wrong." Helena stood. "Then you have 30 hours. I want every system functional. I want this ship ready to move. Because if we do not act now, 800 humans will die and nothing will change. We will remain slaves and servants until the end of time." Robert nodded. "You will have your ship." For 30 hours, Robert and his team worked without rest. They pushed systems beyond their recommended limits. They bypassed damaged sections and rerouted power. They took the ancient ship and forced it back to life through sheer effort and will. And it worked. When the 30 hours were done, the main reactors were at full power. The weapons systems came online. The shields covered the entire hull. The Dreadnought Earth was ready to fight. Took the helm while Helena took the captain's chair. They set a course for 7 and engaged the main engines. The ship that had been dark and silent for 2,000 years began to move, cutting through space toward the first real test of its resurrection. When they dropped out of faster-than-light travel near 7, the fleet was exactly where intelligence said it would be. The alien ships were clustered around the planet, preparing to unleash weapons of mass destruction on the city below. "Weapons systems?" Helena asked. The destruction of a cruiser by an unknown human vessel sent shockwaves through the galactic government. Emergency sessions were called. Diplomatic channels buzzed with angry communication. The Galactic Council, which had ignored humanity for centuries, suddenly could not ignore them anymore. The Council met on the neutral station of Harmony Prime, a massive structure orbiting a dead world. Representatives from 12 major species gathered in a vast chamber designed to intimidate and impress. Humans had never been allowed to attend these meetings as equals. They had always been summoned like servants to answer questions. This time was different. Caroline Mitchell walked into the chamber as humanity's official representative. She wore a simple gray uniform with the symbol of the Dreadnought Earth on her sleeve. She did not bow. She did not apologize. She simply took her seat at the table with the others. The representative spoke first. The aliens were a silicon-based species, cold and logical. "You have violated the Weapons Treaty of 2847, they said. "The destruction of a ship is an act of war. Humanity must surrender its military vessel immediately for destruction. If you do not comply, the Council will authorize military force against your colonies." "We protected innocent humans from attack," Caroline said. Her voice was steady. "They were bombing a settlement of women and children. We did what any species would do for its own people." "You did not have authorization," the representative said. "They were a proud warrior species, and they did not appreciate humans acquiring military power. The Council did not authorize this action. You acted without permission." "We did not need permission," Caroline said. "They were committing genocide. The Council has no law that says we must watch our people be slaughtered." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some species wanted the Dreadnought destroyed immediately. Others feared the ship too much to attack it directly. The merchant species saw opportunity in the chaos. The warriors wanted to test themselves against the human vessel in combat. An old mantid representative raised his multiple limbs. The mantids were ancient and wise, and they had observed the galaxy for longer than any other species. "I have a question," the mantid said. "What is humanity's intention? Do you seek to conquer? Do you seek to rule? Or do you seek something else?" Caroline took a breath. She had prepared for this. She had thought about what humanity really wanted. "We seek to protect," Caroline said. "We seek to save those who cannot save themselves. We seek to show that strength can be used for mercy, not just power. We seek to prove that humanity is not what you thought we were." The Mantid seemed to consider this. "Interesting," he said. "Your ancestors were known to be ruthless warriors. What has changed?" "Everything," Caroline said. "And nothing. We are still warriors. But we have learned that true strength is shown in what we protect, not in what we conquer." The Council voted to form a special commission to investigate the Dreadnought Earth. But more importantly, they ordered a blockade of human space. No ships could leave human colonies. No resources could be traded. It was economic siege designed to starve humanity into submission. But Helena Stone was not surprised. She had expected this. She had prepared for this. "We do not need the Council to survive," Helena told her assembled officers. "We survive by protecting others. We survive by becoming necessary. We survive by being the only hope that those the Council abandons can rely on." She deployed the Dreadnought and its growing fleet of human ships to the edges of the known galaxy. They moved between human colonies and alien settlements that had been rejected by the Council. They battled pirate fleets. They stopped raiders and slavers and murderers. Every mission was a victory. Every victory brought more humans to the cause. More engineers came to work on the ships. More soldiers volunteered to fight. More people began to believe that humanity could be something great again. 3 months into the campaign led a strike team to the colony of New Haven. The settlement was under attack by forces. The defenders were running out of ammunition and hope. Landed the transport ship in the center of the colony and began evacuating civilians. He found a girl hiding in a collapsed building. She could not have been more than 6 years old. She was crying and scared, and she did not believe that rescue was possible. Picked her up and carried her to the transport. He spoke to her in a soft voice, telling her that she was safe now, that humans protected their own. When the transport lifted off, it was full of civilians. Behind them, the Dreadnought engaged the fleet and destroyed 3 warships in rapid succession. The fleet retreated. The colony was saved. News of the rescue spread quickly. Images of carrying the small girl, of human soldiers protecting human families, of the powerful Dreadnought defending the weak. The galaxy began to see humans differently. They began to see them as protectors instead of slaves. The Galactic Council demanded that Helena stand down. They threatened military action. Helena responded by expanding her operations. She sent ships to colonies that had been left to die. She rescued populations that the Council had abandoned. Some alien species began to support humanity. The Mantids, in particular, seemed to approve of the strategy. The merchant began trading with human colonies in secret, defying the blockade. Even some of the warrior expressed respect for human tactics. But the core of the Council remained hostile. They could not accept humanity as an equal. They could not accept that a species they had dismissed as inferior was now saving planets and populations they had written off as unimportant. "They will come with military force," Helena told her command staff. "They will send a fleet to destroy us. It is the only way they know how to handle threats." "How long do we have?" asked. "Days, maybe weeks," Helena said. "But we are ready. We have been ready since the moment we woke this ship. We are ready to fight the entire galaxy if necessary. Because that is what humans do. We stand and fight. We protect the innocent. We do not retreat. We do not surrender." She looked at the main display showing the Dreadnought Earth, her hull gleaming with repairs and new weapons. The galactic fleet arrived with terrible power. 300 warships from a dozen different species, all working together with one goal: destroy the Dreadnought Earth and eliminate the human threat. They came from every direction, forming a sphere of weapons and fury around the human position. Helena Stone studied the tactical display in the command center. Her face showed no fear, only calculation. She had fought against worse odds before, though the humans watching her did not know that. She had seen military situations that seemed impossible and had found victory through preparation and will. "Position?" Helena asked. "We are surrounded," the tactical officer said. "The enemy fleet is forming a closing perimeter. If we do not act in the next 10 minutes, we will be trapped." "Then we do not wait," Helena said. "Weapons, acquire the 3 closest enemy battleships, full power to all weapon systems." The Dreadnought Earth had been a hidden ship, a secret that humanity had kept locked away for 2,000 years. Now it would show why it had been built. Now it would show why the ancient humans had created something this powerful. The weapons fired. 3 beams of pure energy lanced out, each one striking a battleship with devastating accuracy. The alien ships exploded, torn apart by weapons technology that the galaxy had never seen before. In 5 seconds, 3 major warships were gone. The enemy fleet opened fire. Hundreds of weapons sent their attacks toward the Dreadnought. The human shields held for the first volley, the second, the third, but they would not hold forever. The enemy had too many ships, too much firepower. "Engines to full power," Helena commanded. "Take us through the perimeter. I want you to target those heavy cruisers on the left flank." The Dreadnought moved like a dancer, sliding between enemy fire and striking back with deadly accuracy. Piloted the ship through space with skill born from long experience. He could feel the weapon systems responding to his touch, could feel the ship moving like an extension of his will. The battle was brutal and fast. Ships died. Explosions filled the darkness of space. The Dreadnought's shields flickered and held and flickered again. Damage reports came in from every section. The weapon systems worked at maximum capacity, firing faster than the cooling systems could handle, pushing the ship beyond its normal limits. Robert was in the engine room, watching the reactors. The power levels were rising toward dangerous levels. One more push and the entire system could overload and destroy the ship from the inside. "We are approaching critical levels," Robert told his team. "If we push any harder, we lose everything." But he knew what needed to happen. He knew what the captain would ask. He knew what the moment demanded. "Redirect the secondary cooling system," Robert said. "I am rerouting backup power to the weapons. We are going all the way." The Dreadnought's weapons fire intensified. The alien ships tried to close the distance, tried to swarm the human vessel, but they were too slow and too weak. For every human ship destroyed, 10 enemy ships exploded in response. Then the shields failed. A concentrated barrage from 15 ships hit at the same point, and the shields simply could not hold. The Dreadnought's hull was exposed. That was when Robert made his choice. He moved through the engine room, manually overriding the safety systems. He knew what he was doing. He knew it would kill him. He did it anyway. He connected the auxiliary power core directly into the main reactors, giving the weapons systems a final surge of pure power. The Dreadnought's guns fired with intensity that should not have been possible. 8 enemy battleships died in a single barrage. And then the power surge reached the engine room. The explosion was fast and hot, and Robert did not suffer. He died doing what he had chosen to do. He died protecting his ship and his people. "We have critical damage in the engine room," the technician reported. "The main engineer is gone, life support failing in that sector." Helena allowed herself one moment of silence to honor Robert's sacrifice. Then she returned to the battle. The tide was turning, not because the Dreadnought was winning. It was not. The ship was dying slowly, taking more damage with each passing minute. But the alien fleet was breaking. They had expected victory. They had expected the human ship to be destroyed in minutes. Instead, the Dreadnought was destroying their ships faster than they could destroy it. And then something unexpected happened. Other ships began to move. Not alien ships, not council ships, but merchant vessels and independent traders and small colony ships. They began to position themselves between the Dreadnought and the attacking fleet. They were protecting the humans. The independent traders and merchants, the ones who had profited from human protection and human strength, were now returning the favor. They were fighting alongside the Dreadnought. More ships came. Refugees from destroyed colonies joined the battle, their small weapons adding to the fire. Species that had been helped by humans in their darkest hour now stood with humanity against the Council. The Galactic fleet began to realize they were losing, not just losing the battle, but losing the reality they had built. The Council had assumed they could crush the human threat. They had assumed the galaxy would follow their lead. They had assumed wrong. "Stand down," the fleet commander ordered. "All ships stand down. This is a strategic withdrawal." The alien ships stopped firing. They began to back away, moving out of range of the Dreadnought's weapons. The battle was over. Helena looked at the display showing the damage to her ship. The Dreadnought Earth was broken and dying, but it was not dead. The reactors still ran. The shields were failing but still functioning. The ship could be repaired. "Casualty report," Helena said quietly. 43% of our crew is dead or dying," the medical officer reported. Massive damage throughout the ship. The engine room is completely destroyed. Helena nodded. The price of victory was always terrible, but the alternative would have been slavery and extinction. The price was worth paying. Send a message to all allied ships, Helena said. Tell them that humanity honors their sacrifice. Tell them that today we have proven something to the galaxy. We have proven that we do not fight for conquest. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We fight for justice and protection, and the repairs to the Dreadnought took 3 weeks. During that time, the galaxy held its breath. The Galactic Council called emergency sessions. Diplomatic channels burned with communication. For the first time in recorded history, humanity had proven itself militarily superior to the combined forces of the Council. But military superiority was not the same as political power. Helena knew this. She had lived long enough, even if she had been asleep for 2,000 years, to understand how power really worked in a galaxy of millions of species and trillions of individuals. So when the Council sent a request for negotiations, Helena accepted. Not with anger or arrogance, but with the understanding that now, finally, humans had something to say that the galaxy would listen to. The negotiations took place on Harmony Prime, the same neutral station where Caroline had first stood before the Council as an equal. This time, the entire human leadership was present. Helena Stone, Admiral and Military Commander; Davis, who had guided the ship through impossible battles; Caroline Mitchell, the voice and conscience of humanity; Wells, the healer who had brought ancient heroes back to life; and dozens of human representatives from colonies across the galaxy. The Galactic Council looked different now. The representatives who had been so certain of humanity's weakness were nervous. The species that had supported the military action against humans were now quiet. Only the manted representative seemed pleased with the situation. Caroline stood before the Council, just as she had before. But now, her voice carried the weight of victory and sacrifice. Humanity asks for 3 things, Caroline said. First, full representation on the Galactic Council with a voice equal to any other species. Second, an end to the blockade and the restoration of all trade rights for human colonies. And third, recognition of humanity's right to protect all innocent people in the galaxy, regardless of species. That is too much, the representative said. We cannot allow humans to police the entire galaxy. You already do, Helena said. She had stepped forward. Her body still bore the marks of her long sleep and her short time awake, but her eyes were hard as steel. You police the galaxy for yourselves, for your profits, for your power. You let the innocent suffer when they have no value to you. We are saying that we will do the policing differently. We will do it for the people, not for profit, not for power, for life. The warrior representative stood. I challenge this, he said. Humanity has power now, but that does not make you wise. That does not make you worthy of ruling. Prove your worth. Give us a demonstration of your intentions. Helena looked at Caroline. Caroline nodded. Then Helena looked at the holographic display that showed the galaxy. She pointed to a region of space controlled by the Thorn Syndicate, a criminal organization that had been enslaving populations and stealing resources for decades. There is a colony of 2,000 people in that region, Helena said. They were taken by the Syndicate 5 years ago. They are being used as slaves. The Council knows about this. The Council has done nothing about this because the colony has no wealth and no political power. She paused, letting the silence fill the chamber. We will go there, we will free those people, we will destroy the Syndicate fleet, and we will do it without asking the Council's permission. We will do it because it is right. The manted representative nodded slowly. Even the merchant seemed satisfied with this statement. They had already benefited from human protection, and they wanted more. The warrior stood. For a moment, everyone thought he would attack. Instead, he extended his limbs in a gesture of respect. This is the action of true warriors, they said. We do not like you, we may not trust you, but we respect what you say and what you do. The Empire will support humanity's request for council representation. One by one, the species began to agree. Even seeing which way the wind was blowing, eventually agreed to add human representation. Within hours, humanity had official status in the Galactic Council. For the first time in 2,000 years, humans had a real voice in galactic affairs. Helena led the operation to free the enslaved colonists. It was quick and efficient. The Thorn Syndicate fleet was destroyed. The enslaved people were freed. News of the rescue spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Humans were not conquerors. Humans were saviors. Over the next months, humanity's reputation grew. The Dreadnought Earth became a symbol not of conquest but of protection. Ships built and crewed by humans began patrolling the regions of space that the Council ignored. They stopped pirate raids. They prevented genocides. They helped colonies rebuild after attacks. And they asked for nothing in return. No payment, no political favors, no resources. They simply protected the innocent because that was what humanity did. Some species began to follow humanity's example. The Mantid Council started sending their own ships to protect vulnerable populations. Even some of the merchant began to donate resources to rebuild destroyed settlements. Slowly, the entire culture of the galaxy was changing. 1 year after the Dreadnought was discovered and Caroline stood on the bridge of the great ship, the repairs had been completed. The weapons systems had been upgraded. The crew had been expanded. The Dreadnought Earth was now the flagship of a true human fleet. "What do you see when you look out at the galaxy?" Caroline asked. "I see possibilities," said. "I see humans no longer as slaves or servants but as equals, as protectors, as a force for good." "That is not what I see," Caroline said. Looked at her surprised. "I see responsibility," Caroline continued. "We have power now, real power, and we have to use it to help others. We have to be better than the species that came before us. We have to prove that strength and mercy can exist in the same heart." She looked out at the stars, at the darkness of space, where humanity had been forgotten and lost. "We were lost for 2,000 years, Caroline said. "But we came back, and we came back as something more than we were. We came back as protectors. That has to mean something. That has to matter." Helena Stone had retired from active command, but she still visited the bridge of the Dreadnought regularly. She looked at the young humans who now served on the ship. They were descendants of the slaves and the broken and the desperate. But they carried themselves with pride. They carried themselves as humans should. "The Council fears us," one of the young officers said to Helena. "But they also respect us. How is that possible?" "Fear and respect are not so different," Helena said. "When you can protect something, when you prove that you will stand against any enemy to defend the innocent, then even those who fear you come to respect you. That is power. That is true power." She touched the rail of the bridge, feeling the hum of the ship's systems running through the metal. 2,000 years ago, we built this ship," Helena said. "We built it as a weapon of war, but it turned out to be a tool of salvation. We built something we thought would protect our power. Instead, it protected our souls." The Dreadnought Earth moved through space, no longer hidden or forgotten. It moved as a beacon, a symbol that humanity had returned to the galaxy, not as conquerors, not as slaves, but as protectors. Above human worlds, the ships flew in defense. In the dark reaches of space, where the innocent struggled to survive, human vessels arrived to bring hope. In the chambers of power, human voices spoke for those who had no voice. The galaxy was changing. Slowly, one act of protection at a time, the entire nature of galactic civilization was being transformed. And at the center of this change was the Dreadnought Earth, a ship that had been lost and was now found, a symbol of humanity's greatest strength. Not the power to destroy, but the courage to protect. The future was unknown. Challenges would come, enemies would arise, but humanity would be ready, because that was what humans did. They stood and fought. They protected the innocent. They did not retreat. They did not surrender. And they never, ever forgot those they had lost. Of all beings to live in freedom. She paused, looking out at the damaged Dreadnought and the broken fleet around it. "And tell the Galactic Council that if they ever attack a human colony again, we will be waiting for them. We will be ready, and we will not show mercy next time." The message was sent across every communication channel. The galaxy heard it. The Council heard it. The peoples of the galaxy heard it. Humanity had returned, and humanity had never been more powerful. Ready for the battle that was coming. "Let them come," Helena said. "We will show them what human courage means." "Armed and ready," the weapons officer confirmed. "Target the lead cruiser," Helena said. "I want a warning shot. I want them to know who we are." The Dreadnought Earth fired. A beam of pure energy crossed space and struck the ship. The alien vessel exploded in a shower of light and burning metal. It died instantly, destroyed by a single shot from a ship that had never even known existed. On the planet below, humans looked up and saw something they had not seen in 2,000 years. They saw a human ship. They saw a symbol of hope. They saw that humanity was no longer alone. I cannot do that alone, Aurora said. I need human engineers. I need human command structure. I need the crew. For 2,000 years, I have waited for the day someone would come back to me. The day someone would wake up this ship and let me do what I was built to do. Stood in the center of the bridge, looking out at the galaxy that had forgotten his people. He thought about the human colonies scattered across known space, weak and small, used by other species and discarded when no longer useful. He thought about what it meant to have a ship like this. A weapon, a protector, a symbol that humans were once something more. We are going to restore this ship, said firmly. We are going to wake up that crew, and then we are going to remind this galaxy what humanity is capable of. Caroline and Robert and all nodded. They did not know exactly what they were agreeing to, but they knew this was important. This was necessary. This was the moment when everything changed.